Be careful with the dotted rhythms. Sometimes they're turning into triplets a little bit. So yeah, be conscious of that. I had When I wrote this piece, the first movement at least, the idea is that in a lot of Thai classical music, when you have multiple sections, basically the tempo just gets faster and faster and faster. Generally, the tempo, you don't come back to like a return to the original theme where it slows down. But I wanted to add that just to make it. I don't want to say I want to make it more Western or more classical, but I think it just felt right to do. Um, so these tempi are sort of suggested tempos. You know, you don't have to play them exactly. I just put them in there just for those who are um, kind of much more need more direction. Because obviously there's some performers that are much more comfortable when everything's laid out for them. I am perfectly okay with you know, pushing the tempo even more if you want to, like in the section at 46 where you get just the 16th notes. You know, that can be even faster. So if you want to, not that you have to.
Yeah.
um yeah. Now, coming back into the kind of the opening theme again. This is a 53 54. um I probably should have written something more like rallentando into the tempo rather than just starting at the tempo. So, but you know, that's something I can fix later. So that was nice though that you got back into the tempo. um, The glissandi, I had many issues with that because there's so many different ways of doing that in
Yeah.
Thai music and in any tradition. There are just so many different ways of doing them. I think you could probably hold the first note a little bit longer and then slide into it.
And
If
so
you're going up,
would that
yeah,
be
go ahead.
like for all of the slides? Because I was wondering like the speed of the slides and like the glissandi. Like would you say that goes for all of them in this
That
piece?
would be for I was getting ready to say that would be for the slides that go up. Do I have any that are actually going down? I can't. Yes, I do. Okay, I thought I had a couple. Now the ones coming down, the idea there is that you might start the note a little bit louder and then fall away from it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so like yeah, like in measure 7, going into measure 8, and then a few measures later.
Mhm.
Um, so let's see. Yeah, now as far as the bowing style, the double stops don't have to be as clean as we would expect in classical music.
Okay.
I don't know if you had a chance to watch the videos, but the I think the first one was a saw samsai, which is the 3 string. That literally means 3 stringed fiddle. um, and you notice that there were a lot of double stops there. The thing is, the strings on Thai instruments are usually traditionally made of silk, so wound silk, so they do not respond nearly as well as Western steel strings. Though a lot of modern players now will start using those. I think a couple of the players later in the playlist had some steel strings on their instruments. So that means that the sound is a lot rougher too. You would expect silk to sound really smooth, but no, it sounds almost like you're rubbing grit on top of a metal string. So don't feel like you have to play those like perfectly clean. It's okay to have them a little bit more dirty, I guess is maybe the word that some fiddlers like to use. Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing this documentary on the IU String Academy, and this was back when it was just violins, I think. And there was a violinist who also did some bluegrass fiddling, and she talked about her experiences switching back and forth and playing in different communities, and how when she played in for her teachers, her cello professors, or sorry, violin professors, they told her to get a cleaner sound, a much cleaner tone. Whereas when she would play with the fiddlers, they would say your tone's too clean, get make it more dirty. So think about this being more gritty and dirty. Don't. Could you actually try maybe just play that opening, just the opening line? Um, yeah, just like the first 2 or 3 measures, and just yeah, just don't try to make it dirty. Yeah, 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 like that. Yeah. So let's see. So maybe let's try measure 27, getting into that the second section. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Yeah. It can be dirtier and even stronger. Yeah, just like you did. That was very nice. Very nice. Can you play from 46? The fast section, which I said slightly slower, but again,
Mhm.
just to give the option. Um, and I forgot what I was going to say, but could you just play it? Maybe I'll remember what you're playing it. Okay, yeah, I felt like when you first performed it, it was a little bit. I think that measure 48 was a little bit weird.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
did a
okay.
weird bowing or something. It just tripped me up.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that could throw you off if because yeah, that's a very very specific pattern. Now the measure 52. Um,
Mhm.
try with the dotted rhythms. Try not to lift the bow in between. Keep it much more legato.
Mhm.
When you have dotted rhythms, I know that sometimes it's easier to have a little bit of a push for the 16th, just to get make sure that that comes out. But I think that's kind of not stylistically what I want. Keep it more just very very legato. Okay, could you just maybe play that measure just 52? Yeah, yeah, more like that. Now go back to 46 and try that. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah, that way they were standing out a lot because of that. There was just that slight accent that we tend to put on 16ths and dotted rhythms. Yeah, so that was much smoother. That's the thing about especially well, just I think a lot of other musical traditions, but in Thai music, there's not a lot of dynamic changes, which is why I didn't really write any dynamics here.
Yeah.
Um, I'm kind of leaving also that up to the performer. I'm one of those composers that is okay with the performer taking some liberties um, with things, especially if I don't specifically notate it here. Yeah, with dynamics here, just keep it more flat in general.
Okay.
Okay. Um, let's see. I think. Oh, the little mordant that
Mhm.
I have in measure what is it 59.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you play the three note pickup into that measure? Yeah, I think that worked better than what you did last time. Yeah. It just wasn't as clear, I think. Okay. Did you have any questions for me about?
Um, Mostly my two big ones are about like the glissandi, like the slides, and then also for any vibrato, is that something you
Mm-hmm.
want incorporated, and if so, like where, or is there any specific style of vibrato do you want?
Yeah, that's the hard one because vibrato on these huqin, they're basically the upright fiddles that you find throughout Asia. They have so many different ways of doing it, and they've a lot of players have started using Western vibrato, which is more of the arm vibrato.
Hmm.
But the two styles of vibratos that you would normally have are either the finger rolling one, where your finger is kind of that drives the pitch change, or which you can't do on this is the other one you cannot do on the cello because on these instruments I actually have one. You can see that there is no fingerboard, so when you play vibrato you're actually just pushing the string like in towards the neck, so that obviously you can't do on a cello. So um as far as vibrato, I wasn't as concerned about that because the vibrato style is so very different that just using your own vibrato style is fine by me.
Okay.
So the idea is that obviously the bow is in between the strings. So and it's underhanded bowing, so you're actually pulling when you're playing the lower string and then pushing out when you're playing the upper string. And since they are wound silk, they're a lot bigger than steel strings, which means that you can actually hear a pitch change whenever you change bow direction because the string is wound in one way, and so when you bow in one direction, it's in the direction of the winding, which makes it the right pitch. I'm using quotes. Yeah, it was quotes down here. And when you're bowing in the opposite direction, usually up bow, it actually is against the winding and it actually lowers the pitch. So it's like the slight. I don't know if you noticed in the video that most of the bowing, some of the videos, most of the bowing happened in the upper half of the bow. So there's not a lot of bowing right near the frog. The idea is that you're actually using your fingers to change the pressure of the bow hairs. So when you want a tighter pressure, more sound, then you'll actually push the string towards you. When you want to have a more relaxed sound, you just relax the strings. So these fingers are actually in between the stick and the bow hairs. So there's a lot of bowing technique that happens with the right hand as well as very different than cello. Anyway, this is the saduang, which is the smaller instrument of the two. The other one, my coconut fiddle, I've actually loaned to a friend, and she has not given it back to me yet, so I can't demonstrate that for you. Um, so yeah, the bow style is also very different, which it's almost impossible to replicate on a cello. It's just because we have modern. It's a modern instrument with steel strings and a completely different type of bow hand hold. So, um, but let's see. But we can try something. Let's try. Can you maybe play in the upper half of the bow? So basically, play from the middle to the tip, or even further out towards the tip. Just like maybe the section from 16 to pick up to 16. Now, this also means you won't have as much bow for the long notes. It means that also the cello won't be as resonant because you won't have as much bow to use. But let's try that and see how it feels to you. Okay. Yeah. So notice that it's harder to control the bow changes and make them smoother. And but that's kind of part of the style too. If you watch the videos, you can see that the bow changes were always right there at the tip or near the tip, and they weren't nearly as smooth as we would expect in Western playing. So, I mean, I'm not saying that that's something you have to do when you play this piece, but I think the idea is that I'm going to leave a lot of things open. I may put in some suggestions that when I revise this, and maybe have a page of some performance notes as well, just to talk about some of these things, just to give the player the option to maybe explore some of those types of techniques. Yay! That was great. That was really nice and energetic. I love that. Uh, I did okay. So at the end, I kind of also wanted to have maybe like an open G drone at the same time. It's like having a triple stop, but I didn't even write that in. But that's an option. It's okay to add that in if you wanted to. Let's talk about the opening chords. So this piece, this opening section is very similar to what you would find in Northeast Thailand music, Maw Lam with this vocal style, but has uh, a, an instrument that's called the can, which is basically a mouth organ with bamboo pipes and played with all 10 fingers. Well, not yeah, all 10 fingers because you have thumbs too. Um, the opening chords, it sort of represents what happens in can music, where basically you will play all of the pitches of the scale. Obviously, the cello only has 4 notes, so you can't play all 5 or 6 or however many pitches are included in the scale. So that opening chord is supposed to be represent that. Now the thing is, it's supposed to be a really long chord, so you can actually hold that a lot longer. Okay, yeah, it's not like the opening of a like the opening of the Elgar Kajou or something. No, this is yeah, nice big, and then you go into the basically this next section, which sort of outlines a little bit of the melody or the melodic figures that come into the piece later. And then at the end, you come back to that big chord cluster again, and same idea. You hold it really long, and even the second one, you hold really, really long. So, can you maybe do? I'd like it to just be in one bow rather than to have several bows. So let's see if you can maybe just hold that first chord. I would like if you could try to hold the G as well. I know that's hard, but maybe just hold it as long as possible. And it again, this is the bamboo instrument. I actually have it with me too as well. It is a very harsh sound. So don't feel like you have to play it. It doesn't have to be a pretty chord.
Okay. Sorry. Sorry, I don't.
If you can't hit the G, that's okay. Just do it as a broken chord.
Go back.
And go over the fingerboard. You can get 3 strings on the fingerboard.
Okay, there you go.
Can you do it even longer?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. That's it. Now, I like the crescendo at the end. That actually would typically happen. And obviously, you're at your tip, which is the hardest part of the bow to do a crescendo, right? But the pause, the breath, that's literally a breath for a can player. It's like another big breath to start the next section. Though the thing is, of course, with the organ, the mouth organ, you can actually breathe in and out. So you could actually do a type of circular breathing. So technically, that breath is not necessary. But I imagine after a long big chord like that, it would be nice to have a big breath to start.
Yeah.
But try that. So play that opening chord long, and then with the breath mark, just take a little bit of time before you come back in. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So that's something you can work on with the chord. I know that's hard. I when I went to music school, I spent 2 years just working on open strings and just doing long bows and trying to get my bow to play as long as possible, without having any break in sound. And it's tough. It takes a lot of work. Um, Now, can you play like maybe do the last two measures, maybe actually the last three measures before the last two chords, and then do the same thing with that? And those can be both down bows if you want to do that.
Oh yeah.
The chords and long, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the idea. Is to hold those as long as possible, and then the railroad tracks. This is our you can take as much time as you want before you come in, and that was great what you did there. And I love the energy and the feel at the beginning when you came in with the melody. That's exactly what I wanted there. Let's see. Um, I had a couple other things, but I can't remember what they were. Did you have any questions about anything?
Um, oh, so it says stately at the beginning. What is that like?
Okay. Think of it almost as like a processional, almost like a royal processional or something. It's like like a king is walking down an aisle or a queen is walking down an aisle. The idea is that it's like I said, outlining sort of some of the themes, melodic ideas. It's not supposed to be improvisatory. It's all one tempo, and very almost repetitive in the tempo. So it's just basically almost like a march, but a slower march.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? No, you.
I have a question
Oh, okay.
about the just articulation in the faster section. Maybe
Uh-huh.
you could hear that one more time and just get your thoughts about that. Elena, could you play some of the
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so again, going back to what I said about the first movement, and just about bowed string playing in Thailand, there's the bow changes aren't nearly as legato as we would expect. So don't feel like you have to play like a legato sound here. Obviously, I since I didn't really specify anything, it can be legato. I again, I'm one of those composers that is okay with it either way. But if you wanted to explore some of the more crisp style and maybe shorter bows, that would be fine. Try playing it at. Try playing just what you just did, but in the upper half of the bow or near the tip. Okay. Good. Now do it at the frog, like right at the frog, and stay like right there in that part of the bow. Okay. So I kind of like it better at the frog. What do you think?
Yeah.
It's up. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it has more like where it speaks a little better.
Yeah, it's more gritty, which I like too. And yeah, obviously the string crossings are much easier at the frog. Um, so yeah, I think with this, interestingly, if you're playing slower, it's almost easier to create a more separated sort of feel with the bow changes at the tip. But playing faster, of course, it almost works better to play it at the frog because there you have a lot of weight and a lot of inertia, which makes it much more difficult in some ways to keep it legato. So yeah, I would say just I don't want to say marcato or any sort of separation is just a stylistic thing. So I think definitely at the frog and more gritty is great. And ultimately we're playing it on a cello and not on a sawduang or sa'u or any of those instruments, so it's going to sound different anyway. Let's see. Could I hear the double stop section at 68?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. That's. I probably should have put. I probably needed to put accents on the first of every four eighth notes. Just try. Don't write it in right now. Just try. Put just a accent. Da 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 da. Just so we can hear a little bit of a. Yeah. Yeah, do that again, and this time make sure that you're leaning more into the A string, because right now I'm hearing a lot of the D.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, I like that. And yeah, obviously when you go over to the D string to play the F, that needs to come out a little bit more. So that was good that you brought that out. So yeah. Now can you play from like 60 up to that point? And maybe have some more of it. The idea is that basically you want to have sort of a bit of a rhythmic drive, and having a strong. This is one of those cases where it's okay to have a strong 1 2 1 2 if you're counting it in two. Did I say? Yeah, I put it in cut time. So yeah, so you really want to feel that the accents on the beat, so it keeps pushing. Okay, so yeah, just play it. What was that, 60? Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's the idea. Now, try not to make, especially when you have double stops, the when you have a figure with two quarter notes and beats on beats 3 and 4, try not to make 4 too short. It was you did it, yeah, you did it a couple of times. You almost clipped it. Yeah. So just be careful with that. And that almost needs to be a little more legato. So you have ba da 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 da. So a little bit of push push. Does that make sense?
I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Do you want to try that, Elena?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you try that? Okay. That felt very deliberate. Which I know you're trying something new. Maybe try not to lift too much in between the quarter notes. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you try it again? Yeah, like that. Yeah. Though you did clip the last one right before you go into, but you were thinking about you're shifting in the thumb position, so that was fine. Yeah, I think that works better. So yeah, not too much separation with the quarter notes. Yeah, otherwise it gets a little bit clipped and they almost feel like their own. entity musically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, could we try the last the four measures with the pickup and see if you can maybe get a little bit of the G string in there, an open G drone with it? I know that's hard. It doesn't have to be like perfectly. It's the idea is that if you maybe hit it on like the big beats, just like maybe almost make it like a slightly rolled chord, or just really push a lot of pressure on just the big beats, so you can actually have that G string resonating while you're playing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like that?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's one of the reasons I didn't write it in, because I know it's hard. We I didn't want to make this a preparatory exercise for the last move of the Shostakovich concerto or anything where you have to actually do that, but you know it's something that works well if you're just using a lot of pressure, and if you're playing fast, yeah, you almost can't really, you can't use a lot of bow. It almost feels like it has to be just like almost like this kind of weight, right, rather than using a lot of bow to get sound. So try playing with shorter bows, and don't try to hit the string every time. Just try to occasionally hit it like on the big beats, like bada bum 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 bum. Then of course with the long notes you can
Okay.
do it as you can. Yeah, I mean something like that would work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like constantly present, because the G string is so resonant anyway. It'll ring after you've played it. Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, and definitely don't what you did there. You didn't put it on the first double stop. Yeah, leave that one just D's. What did you do with the bowing at 76?
Oh, I did all down bows.
Yeah, yeah, I probably should have written that. Yeah, I definitely didn't want you doing an up bow there after that. Yeah, that works better. Um, oh, you know the beginning we talked about stately, but we forgot to have you try it more stately.
Did
You
you
think you
want?
play?
Did
What's
you
that?
want? Did you want like more articulation at the front of the
A little
note?
more articulation, yeah. A little more angular.
Well, yeah.
That works better. That tempo seems a little maybe on the slow side.
Oh, okay.
It's what, maybe ba da 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 da. Try that, and then maybe just a slight bit of separation in between each bow.
Oh, sorry, each one.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea is that yeah, what you did there with the accenting more the first beat, the ba da 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 to help it drop. Yeah, that's exactly right. But maybe ba da ba, almost like a slight breath in between. Just try that for just like the first few measures. Yeah, exactly like that. The idea is that since this would have been played on, like I said, the mouth organ, obviously that would be right before the. This would probably like be an out breath for the bada, and then an in breath for the bada. So it's like alternating breaths, and so there would be a slight pause because there would be the change of your diaphragm, either pushing air or pulling air in. So I think having that slight spacing helps a lot for the style, if that makes sense. I just have to figure out how to notate that. Or I guess that could be included in the performance notes, because it doesn't need to be like a big space, just like, and what you did was perfect. I like that.
It says that there's a poco poco stringendo. Um,
Oh yeah, that's right.
about how fast should the end go? I mean, I know that there's probably a large range that would work, but
Right, right. Yeah, it's up to the player. Ultimately, up to the player. You can get as fast as you want to. You can make it a virtuosic showpiece, or you can be very laid back with it. Yeah, I didn't want to, because it varies by player. So there's no specific tempo marking to get to. When I started, so I have there's a little backstory to this. So when I finished my cello performance degree, I actually quit playing cello for 8 years. So um, because I just didn't, the classical music track didn't feel like it was what I wanted to do. So when I came back to the cello, I actually started exploring a lot of folk music and music from all around the world. So there's that part of the story. The other part of the story is when I came to the U.S. when I was 2. So military brat. So I was all over the states and eventually settled into southern Indiana, Kentucky, the Louisville, Kentucky region. But my mom had brought a lot of cassette tapes back with her from Thailand, from Thailand for us, and that was what was playing in my house all the time. So I grew up listening to Thai. The first songs I learned how to sing were in Thai. So that was always a part of my musical background. So there's that. That part of the story. So when I started getting back into playing the cello, I started writing music, sometimes in these styles of music that I've been playing, and eventually there are times where my mom would say, "Why don't you write Thai music?" Like, I don't know why don't I? So I decided, it was time for me to start doing this. And the thing is, there are a lot of composers that have mixed race, or are immigrants, or come from countries outside of the U.S., that are now really starting to incorporate a lot of stylistic things from their homelands into their composition. One of my favorites is Irina Esmail. I don't know if any of you are familiar with her. Yeah, she wonderful composer, classically trained. Then she decided she was going to start learning Hindustani music, and now she incorporates that into her music, and it's beautifully done. And I love everything that she's done, and of course she's done several solo cello pieces as well as cello and piano pieces, and I'm looking forward to playing even more of her works. So, but I think there are more and more composers doing things like this.